Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video I'm talking about the books I want to read this May. TBRs aren't going amazingly well for me this year. I'm managing to stick to some of the books that I list on my TBRs, but in general, mood reading is definitely the thing for me at the minute. However, I do want to change that because I have a lot of books that I need to read this year. So I'm really trying to be strict with my TBRs at the minute, and let's just hope I do stick to May's TBR because it is a cracker. So before we get on with the May TBR, please do make sure you're subscribed to this channel. It'll mean the world to me if you can join this lovely bookish community, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, and that way you'll get a notification every time I upload. So let's get cracking on the books because we have some good ones on the May TBR. Okay, so the first book is actually a novella. I need to read more novellas, guys. I'm like consistently 3 books behind my Goodreads challenge all the time. I feel like I can't keep up. But with this novella, I feel like maybe I will be able to just jump ahead of my Goodreads challenge a little bit. It is Heartburn by Nora Ephron. So this book I have heard nothing but great things about. This is by Nora Ephron, who is an extremely popular writer and has written a load of incredible books, some of which have been made into films. And this is a very, very popular novella, which I've just heard a load of great things about, basically. It is about a cookery writer called Rachel, who 7 months into her pregnancy discovers that her husband is basically hooking up with another woman. So this book is described as a roller coaster of love, betrayal and revenge, and how to make a perfect souffle. So I love the sound of this, and this is my first Nora Ephron. So I really hope I'll get what all the hype is about, and I'm just really looking forward to reading Heartburn. Also, the fact that it is so short, it's a very a slim novella. So I'm hoping I'll be able to read this very, very quickly, and we can bump up that reading challenge and I can read more books this year. That would be a lovely thing. So the second book on my May TBR is a book that has kind of been passed over from last month's TBR. It is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I will read this eventually, guys. I'm gonna read it in May. I can't believe how long I've been meaning to read this book and just haven't. So if you've not heard about what this book is about, this is basically a book about a girl called Addie who makes a deal with the devil where she basically will live forever, but she will never be remembered. So this book, I believe, is set in the 1700s in France. And basically Addie eventually meets someone who remembers her. This is supposed to be heartbreaking, it's supposed to be a love story, and I really love V.E. Schwab's writing. I've read some of her previous books, so I have nothing but very, very high expectations for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I know everyone's been talking about this book, I'm very, very late to the party here, several months late to the party. But I really hope to read this in May, and hopefully I will have a very good experience. Hopefully I will see what all the hype is about. Let me know down in the comments if you guys read this and if you loved it, because I really want to know your thoughts. Okay, the next book, guys, is a bit of a chunky book, and I'm very, very excited about it. It is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the Blood and Ash series. Trilogy? Is it trilogy? I think it is. Okay, so from Blood and Ash, I read this at the start of the year and had very mixed opinions about it. I thought that the fantasy element wasn't very strong, and I didn't like that the romance didn't really start up until the latter half of the book. I was just quite bored throughout the whole thing and honestly wasn't very convinced by the world building or the fantasy element of the plot. However, the end of From Blood and Ash basically is the one thing that's making me want to read this book. The direction From Blood and Ash took was not where I was expecting, and I think it took a really exciting turn. So I am desperate to read this book because I think the stakes are much higher in this book than they were in From Blood and Ash. It's going to be a very different book, and for that reason I'm very excited about it. I have heard a lot of people say the second book is better in this series, and I know that the third book, I think it's called A Crown of Gilded Bones, that's just come out. So I do really want to get around to reading this book, and then hopefully, if it's good, I will go on to the third book. Jennifer L. Armentrout is an author who I've read, you know, books from before, and I've actually really gotten on with them. So I think it was like the Obsidian series, maybe like Obsidian, Opal, those books. They're basically about, it's paranormal romance with, I think they're aliens. I love that series. That series was great. So I do really like Jennifer L. Armentrout's writing style, and I just hope I have a better experience with this one than I did from Blood and Ash. Okay, next up is a sequel, and it is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer. So at the start of the year, I also read A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Really loved that book, like was really pleasantly surprised by how much I did actually like it. And I've been meaning to read the second book for a few months now, and I've finally gotten around to buying it and picking it up. I'm obsessed with this cover, like look how shiny this is. I'm living for it. I've heard that this book goes in a very different direction, and one of the main characters of the first book becomes basically a main protagonist of this one, and it's kind of like two sides of the book. That doesn't really make sense. But basically Gray from the first book, I think his name is, his plot really takes over, and I think he's got a lot more potential, and this book is kind of about him. So I'm very excited to see where that leads. I just hope there isn't a love triangle, because it certainly felt in the first book that there was going to be a bit of a love triangle. Let me know down in the comments if there is. What did you think of A Heart So Fierce and Broken? I would love to know your thoughts. If you've never heard about this series, I really would recommend picking up A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It is basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling where a girl called Harper gets sucked into this like magical world, this magical fantasy world. And it's basically about her trying to break the curse and fall in love with this prince who is also the beast at the same time. So it's really fascinating. It's very dark and very kind of like just epic, brilliant fantasy. I really enjoyed it. So I'm expecting big things for this one. And my absolute highlight for the month of May, which I am so happy to have a proof copy of, is Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. So thank you to Orion Books for kindly gifting me this proof. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. It sounds absolutely incredible. So Victoria Aveyard is the author of the very epic, very excellent Red Queen series. And Realm Breaker is the start of a new fantasy series from her. And basically this is a book about what if the A team fails? Like what if the heroes fail and the B team, the normal people like you and me, have to pick up the slack and save the world. So it's about a group of misfits banded together who basically are just trying to save the world and just trying to, you know, do their best to save the kingdom, essentially. So in this group of people, we have a squire, an immortal, an assassin, an old sorceress, and a pirate's daughter. So I am very excited about the premise of this book. It just sounds so epic. And Victoria's writing style is just amazing, and she really knows how to deliver very high action, high stakes, and also she delivers some of the like most brutal plot twists and betrayal in all fantasy fiction. So I'm really looking forward to potentially get my heart broken in Realm Breaker, but I am very ready for this. And honestly, this is just one of my most anticipated books of the year. I'm very excited to be reading this May. This book does come out on the 4th of May, so you'll be able to read this book right now, as I believe this video will be going up after the 4th of May. So do let me know if you're excited about Realm Breaker. I certainly am, and hopefully I'll be doing a reading vlog on it very soon. So guys, that is it for my May TBR. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it. And I just think this May TBR was banging. Like, I'm really excited about all of these books. So guys, that's it for this video, and I will see you in another one very soon. Bye!